Do you know what it means to photograph a president? Let me break it down for you. The president cannot leave you and you were late. Discipline. The president cannot be at an event and you say your memory card was full or your battery died or your lens fell and broke. Number 3. That means the president cannot.
Bayo Omoboriowo is a visionary creative strategist, cultural advocate, and institution builder with over a decade of experience deploying creative solutions, leading and mentoring creatives across the globe.
What does it take in terms of preparedness for you to walk those walls?
8 years, I rode on the wings of humility. It's about, can't you see that they are speaking Hausa? Go and learn Hausa so you know what they are saying. I said, if you are meant to know, they will say it in English. Now, once you start getting distracted, you lose focus. Your image is blurry.
As a leading creative who has successfully transitioned between the public, private, and development sectors, Bayo has pioneered innovative ideas, building ecosystems that drive creativity as a tool for socio-economic transformation. His journey, which began with a raw passion for creative ventures, has evolved into a commitment to knowledge development and transfer, resulting in the founding of Tekera Africa and other initiatives that empower the next generation of African creatives.
Your evolution from now being President Buhari's photographer, right? What's that mission?
2 to 3 years into government, I was already asking myself, is this just taking pictures? Is that all? There must be more. That took me through the journey of what is more in photography. How do we turn ideas to products to industries? Life is a journey. Most times we make it a destination rather than just a bus stop, which you can take off again and continue. Photography could have become my own destination, but I said no.
You published a book, a very beautiful book.
Do you know that I was in government and I went to loan money to publish that book?
You're kidding me.
You went to collect loan?
No.
See, it's not every day you talk. It's story that brings story.
Are you kidding me? All right, guys, welcome on this episode of Venture Valley. We have here a global creative. I like to call him the creative businessman because he has been able to evolve his journey from just being a creative to building creative enterprises to raising other creatives. He is the founder of JT Agency, the founder of Tekera Africa, which is the house that holds Madhouse, The Village. He's also, guess what? He's also a Guinness World Record holder. And he's someone that has been able to influence the creative landscape in Africa through his creativity and through his experiences and access. And he has also been able to influence policy. And we'll talk a little bit about that and how the creative is being seen from Africa. On this episode, I bring you the one and only Bayo Omoboriowo.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here this morning.
Thank you so
very
much.
Early at that, but it's so beautiful.
We have
to
to
be
make
here.
it work. I mean, I like it. I like it. I will not lie. I do like it. When you told me it, I was like, okay. I was actually scared that, will he make it?
Make it while the sun shines.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but that also just speaks about your dedication. So, I mean, you typically, I've come across your story through so many platforms. And I observed that you typically refer to yourself as a story who God alone has written. Can you just tell us a bit of that story and how? Because many people just see you and they say Bayo Omoboriowo, Buhari's photographer. I think that's where a lot of people it came into national consciousness. But you've been actually in the scene, working, building up. What was that journey been like? Where was the spark, and how did you come to the place that we knew you as the nation's favorite photographer? I mean, prior to you, there were other photographers, but I don't think anyone embodied it with that brand and style like you did. And I think it started a movement.
Yeah, I think it's a story that is going to take us days, but I'll try to summarize it. And why I say that is, this is not where I would have imagined that I would get to, and there's no way I could have dreamt to be here. I say that because I know where I am coming from. And I was telling someone just 2 days ago, and they were talking about me, and they said, they played the video, and I said, is this me? And they were laughing, and I posted, I said, what was on their mind is what God cannot do does not exist. And why I say that is because I tell people I wasn't born with a silver spoon. That's what they say.
Yeah,
I
not a
wasn't
Nepo
born
baby.
with a silver spoon, but I wasn't even born with a spoon. That's a different dimension that, in itself. And I say that because my background was very, 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 like when you say, I know some people's don't know what, some people's story is worse. But this one was, we had to hawk pure water on the street of Lagos to even survive. We're living in face me, I face you. We're using pit latrine. We're it was just a little, if not for my mother's discipline, maybe I would have been a bus conductor, because all the other people that lived around the same community where we were living, a lot of them became touts, because I was living in Mushin. We are the core of, when you say Akala and all those places, that's where my foundation is, where at the flash flip, you just see they start breaking bottle and fight has started. Just at the snap of your finger, while I don't start, and this were the kind of environments I was raised from. But I think God had a plan for me, and had a plan for what he wanted to build. And that's why I always say I'm a product of, God. Because when I look at where I am now and backtrack to that story, it couldn't have connected beyond God.
No one would have written
there.
that story.
Yeah, exactly. And I also look at my journey from that point through, education that I had, and I'm grateful to my mother for standing true to it, to say my children must be well educated. And that's why I'm passionate about education, because I know that the quality of output anybody produces is also hinged on the quality of education that goes inside them. And I know the vehicle God used to help me was just education and association. And I'll talk about association later. But education is the kind of knowledge or things that you swallow. And there's a Yoruba adage that says it is whatever you swallow that would make you fly. If it is what you put inside of you that will take you as far as you want to go. And that was education. So my mother fought to make sure that we went to one of the best schools, even though she could not afford it. She did everything.
From face me, I face you.
From face me, I face you. So we went to one of the best schools in the country. That was the same school. Again, lucky, my father was a staff, and that was University of Lagos Staff School. Those days, that was the school that MQ Abiola children were. The secondary school I went to is the school that Coach Charis, his children went to. Like all the big people that mattered in those days, those were the schools they were attending. And that's alone influenced the quality of knowledge I carried. And even though my background at home was really low, but my exposure was really very high. So my dreams were very strong. I knew how far I wanted to go. I knew what I was looking for in life, and I knew I was going to settle. Because I was in the association. I was in an association of people where back at home it was area boys, but in school it was people that were dreamers. I wanted, one of my classmates told me once that he was tired of going to England, on holiday. I said, England, I've not even reached the road to the airport. Not airport, I've not reached the road to the airport. You are tired of going on holiday in England. I'm tired of going, I'm tired of traveling to England. Yes. I just came back last week. So products, education, association is one of the vehicles through which God set me apart and just led me in that direction. And also, I always tell people, because it's what do you carry? Everybody carries something. For me, my relationship with God is intentional, because I know that that's the fuel that has accelerated my journey, and I'm not going to joke with it. And I stay there and continue to build on that.
So, but coming through your journey, when you speak about education, are you speaking about like formal education? Or are you just talking about education as like ever learning? Because at least I understand from your background that you studied chemistry.
Yeah, pure and applied
chemistry. I also understand that there's been a lot of conversations around people saying, "Oh, you don't need to go to school. I just want to be a creative." What does that mean in terms of education when you're speaking about education?
Education for me is a platform for community. It's not necessarily formal or informal. It's a platform for community. So if you say I'm going to school, what you're simply saying is I'm going into an intentional community that helps me become what I want to become. So now we say in school, my teacher. What is a teacher? Someone that transfers knowledge to you. So whether we say formal or informal, as long as there is a community where knowledge is transferred, that is education.
Yeah.
And for me, that is what it is. Because again, the Western world comes and tells us we have to do primary, secondary, and university. That is education. For us in Africa, that might not necessarily be education. There are many kids today who would never go into school, but they can end up being educated if we build the right system. And it's one of the things I say, reinventing education. And I'm very passionate about that. How do we reinvent education? What are we actually trying to do with education? Is it just the formalities of 6443, or I don't know what they do now, 6443,
6334.
6334?
Yeah.
Or it's a formula of get these children, pass the knowledge to them, be intentional about that knowledge. That means if the child is in Daura, or in Funtua, or in Ijebu, or in Lato, wherever they are, as long as you know that the agenda is that knowledge is transferred. And what knowledge? Knowledge that prepares them for the future they deserve. Knowledge that positions them to be relevant in society. That is education. So even if that means in a room, someone is there intentionally transferring knowledge to them to make them become who they should become, that is education. So whether you go into a school or you're just in a community, as far as knowledge is transferred, that is education. And I think for me, I'm very passionate about how government begins to relook at education.
Yeah.
Not so I went into a village in Bauchi, Katagum, thereabout, and I saw kids just roaming in the village. And I looked at it and I said, who did us? Who did this to us? These children might never the government might never build school inside that place. But do you know that inside that community, without somebody coming to speak English to them, even that Hausa they have, somebody can go there and speak that Hausa to them and empower their mind. Someone can use Hausa to teach them AI. Someone can use whatever it is. But we change our mind and say, oh, until they go to school where somebody comes to teach them English, they're not educated. Go to China. They won't even speak English to you. But are they not educated?
Yeah. So I mean, Bayo, I must say that your definition of education really just switched something on in me right now, because I've actually never heard it said like that.
Yeah.
And I totally do agree, because typically I think if we try to mass produce the white Western form of education, let me even not say the white man, the Western form of education across board, that's why we are failing with having a large, I think we've not just reinvented it. And I think it's very important that we do, or else we'll have a crisis on our hands. Recently I started reading Femi Otedola's book, this new Making It Big. And it's quite shocking. I never knew that the guy did not go to university.
Imagine.
I never knew. Like, I was like, this guy.
Breaking news.
I was like, okay, this guy didn't go to university. It was quite shocking. But also, when you were speaking about your story, something came up in my mind. How did you push through and not have the victim mindset, in terms of you were building from a place of poverty? You were pushing. And then now you are coming to school, first of all, interacting with young children who are from a place of privilege. And then also going through life, there's still that, should I say, chip, on your, like, okay, there's something still feeling like, did you ever have to battle not feeling like you deserve to be in that room, or not feeling like you could dream any back? Basically, the question is around, how do you ensure you don't keep your background doesn't keep your back on the ground?
I think it's, again, all of what I do now is hinged on my own story. And the simple answer to that is what incubates you? Where are you incubated? And again, and that's why you come to the village and it's all about community. It's intentional. It's from my heart. Because again, I go back to community. A community where people are incubated, if they're incubated right, the dynamics of their life changes. I was in a place of poverty, but I was seeing a big picture ahead of me. Now, I wasn't there yet, but I knew that it is possible. So I was incubated in a place that made me see possibilities. Community. So as much as this is where I am right now, I wasn't seeing here again. So I was here, but my mind was there. And this is what became the driver of everything I did. And I'll give you an instance. I was in secondary school, and I never took school serious. Children, they have lesson teacher, all those things. Why key points?
Yes,
Just go pick key points and just quickly read. Maybe a day to the WAEC exam. education was. But at a point, I looked at my life and I said, Bayo, you cannot continue like this. Because then, I'm sure I started seeing people that were now successful. And I'll give you a say, community incubation. Keep those words. Community incubation.
Yes.
The community that incubates you is the biggest asset anybody will build in life. Community that incubates you. So I finished secondary school in pre-WAEC mock exam. I had 6 Fs, 4 Ps, and 2 C.
That is 0.
F maths, F English, F physics, F biology. I was a science student. F chemistry. And P maybe geography, blah 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 blah. And C Yoruba and food and nutrition. Have I not failed?
You failed.
So I was a failure, education-wise, in secondary school. I then moved. How I did WAEC, JAMB, we shall daru, everything. We join. I got into Unilag. First hostel that I got to squat in, I could not afford to own a hostel. I was going home inside bus one day. I met somebody, Olawale Perfect. His name was Olawale Perfect. We call him Perfect. Inside bus, going to Igondo. And then we started gisting. And from there, he has gotten hostel. You don't get hostel. Next, I don't carry my bag. Came to squat. I was sleeping on slab or bunk. You know the bunk, hostel bunk without foam.
Yes.
The metal. That's what I was sleeping on, squatting in his room. Incubation community. When his other roommates came and we all started, I was a squatter. Shoulder in there. We come in. At night, I'm going to bed. They are reading. I wake up in the morning. They are already awake reading. That's incubation. So I was forced to begin to pretend that me too. How can your roommates, all of them are always reading? You're always sleeping. So shame started making me to stand up. Don't forget, key point, I was not reading. But in the right community, I began to take reading serious. My first semester result, without, and then I was born again. So I knew that cheating in exam was no longer possible. So from WAEC that were cheating,
yes,
I knew I could not cheat. So I'll go and sit in front so that I'm not tempted. I'll sit on the first row where everybody will see me and then back everybody and sit down and write my exam myself. They say, you're a Christian, you cannot cheat it. From 6 Fs, my first semester result. That 6 F is with copying, you know. We'll copy each other out.
Yeah, you still
we'll pass paper out. And I say, 6 Fs and 4 Ps. Without paying attention to anybody. Solo, one-man army. I had all Bs and 1 C. All Bs.
In Unilag.
In Unilag. First semester alone. By being incubated in the right environment, studying, and got back in the remaining up. There was a semester in Unilag with alone, by just reading, I had all A's and 1 B. I was the best, 4.89 CGP in the department.
Yeah, that's what typically you get with that.
In secondary school, they laughed at me. I had the worst result. I did not come to class that day. They were laughing. The next day, they said the lecturer read the result out and was using me to laugh. So the next day I came, you see the way you're laughing. That's how they were. So I just saw that the atmosphere was different. Like, what is happening?
All Fs.
Then now you add all
A's
and 1 B.
1B.
4.89.
Yeah.
So what changed? Community. 1, the God factor.
Yes.
But God also doesn't waste his time on people that are not serious. That's why it says faith without works is dead. If you're not going to work, your faith is already useless. So that community supported me to begin to reimagine. I read in every faculty in University of Lagos. Every faculty. I was reading like a madman. I had class, library, fellowship, hostel, class, library. That was my... So the same brain that had all F was the same brain that produced all A's. That means it's possible. But the environment you keep yourself, the environment where you are incubated can determine how far you go in life. And that's why I always am big with Tikera Africa now on community. That's why Madhouse was created as a community. I've seen a lot, even JT Agency. I've seen a lot of creators who, have passion inside them. The seed is there, but because they are not incubated in the right environment, it dies.
Yeah. So going through your journey, where did the seed of creativity get planted? Because I'm still trying to find that through this journey. Like, where did you start creating?
I created out of suffering.
Tell me.
I did not create because I was trying to be creative, but they said necessity is the mother of invention. It was necessity had to bring. I was broke as anything.
Was this in university or?
Wait, I'll take you there. 500 naira was my allowance. Out of 500 naira, I would transport myself. I'll pay tithe and offering. I will buy print material and I'll eat.
500 naira.
500 naira. Bros, I know going invent. How to invent?
How you want to job?
So my passion came out of passion. Do you know what passion is in Yoruba? When Cain has flogged you. Passion. So my passion came out of passion. And I asked myself, where are you going to like this? I was broke. And I asked myself, there was a day I was crying. I could not drink Gary. Gary
was. You could not afford to drink Gary.
Gary is like last resort.
Last resort.
There was no Gary. I was like, God, I was crying in this. I said, how would my life continue like this? Kind of suffering is this? I was suffering. You don't understand? I didn't have hostel. I was squatting. Yes. I squatted year 1, squatted year 2, squatted year 3.
How many more years remain?
Year 4, they now finally gave me hostel. I gave somebody to squat and went to squat somewhere else. Because I had to do goodwill now. I had to help somebody to squat. So that I can go. There were days that I would pass under the gates to enter hostel. There were days that they would lock the hostel and say, you are not a bona fide member. I'll go and sleep inside library. There are days you do overnight reading just because there was nowhere to sleep. So I knew, I needed to build a future for myself. So I started asking myself, what do I have? And then I realized that there was something that was just natural to me. So I saw that, these guys, you have camera. Yeah, I'm confident too. I can face anybody. Give me a camera. Let me help you take picture. I'll copy the memory card. Then you have the camera. Rich kids now, they have camera. Oh, my father gave me camera. Me, I don't have camera, but I have passion. Give me the camera. I would express my passion. You copy it. So from there, Feishayo, Shogamu, you give me his camera. I'll go. I was going everywhere. Casually, people say, can I copy my picture? This is year 2 or 3 in Unilag. Can I copy my picture? The next thing, I'll give them, I'll borrow laptop.
Where did you learn photography from?
Foundation, incubation. My father is a photographer. But he never, and that's why sometimes I don't know how to give him credit because he never allowed us to touch his camera. But I think, again, back to incubation, the community where you are. So unconsciously, that trade was in my mind. So it was natural. So if I see a camera, because it's subconscious, so I didn't know that I was learning from him subconsciously. He had a studio back in the days, photo studio.
Really?
Somata. It was then he became official photographer for Unilag. That was why, even though we didn't have money, we could go to Unilag as staff.
Oh, he was official. He wasn't a staff of.
He was a staff of Unilag.
As a official
photographer. His own photography. He didn't want me to become photographer. I said, my own photography in a liberal style photography. When he saw how everything, I'll take you there. So I started borrowing camera from there. Other fellowships started calling me, say, come and photograph our event. Next thing, department, law, will say, come and photograph our events. And then the next thing now, go there. They will start giving me small money. I was like, oh, this thing is real. Small change. Now all of a sudden, now I was able to sustain myself year 3, year 4. So I was like, this photography is like, something is there. But I then went for NYSC. And then all of a sudden at NYSC camp, I didn't want to be a photographer. I wanted to go to oil and gas. Because of photography. My father self could not photography. No.
You want to fail?
Fail. Go and do photography. I could not tell him. So when I went for NYSC, all of a sudden, I went with my camera. And that camera was camera that my father sent me to give my friend money to help him buy camera. To help him buy laptop. My friend was in the US. The guy said the laptop brand has not come out. That when it comes out, I said, see, convert that money and use it to buy camera. When the laptop brand comes out, I will return my father's money. It was later I had to go and confess when I could not return the money. Say, see that your money in a camera is on buy. So I bought camera with my father's money. Why couldn't he give me money to buy camera? Or why didn't he even allow me use his camera? So I bought his camera. I started going everywhere with the camera. And then I went for NYC camp, started snapping everybody and doing wait and gets. All of a sudden, everybody started chasing me. I had not learned photography, just natural. Everybody. I'll go and print it. I'll start doing wait and get. So I became a threat to the people. That's why I'm not surprised I'm a threat anywhere I go these days. I became a threat to the photo. You know this?
They usually have them in camp. That's
They call meeting. They called me to meeting. Said,
you can't
you are spoiling market. And my picture was digital quality. This is 2010. This 15 years ago. Say, this boy has scattered market to everybody. I was like, everybody will be calling Bayo. Come and snap us. Bayo's angle. Yeah, just they do this thing. I just enjoy myself. There's no professionalism there, but it was there. The gift was just there.
Do you think it was genetic?
It's maybe, you know. And before you know, I became NYC official photographer. DG of my camp is inviting me over. What can I make for you? Come on. I became celebrity. Governor Rotimi Amechi, I was there. I have all these pictures. 2010. Photographing when it comes for parade.
Okay, you were in River State.
I was in River State, traveling in River State. Then I started going from village to village. So everything I'm doing, the seed started being sown there. Because again, I could not go to oil and gas. They say everybody that works in rivers must teach. So I had enough time to go and be taking pictures, and that was the beginning. So it's not like I became a photographer because I wanted photography. No, I was a product of circumstance.
Survivor.
Survivor. And then from there, I realized that this is something I really, really am passionate about. I saw that it was something that came natural to me. I know what they say now. If you do it, what's that thing that if you do, even if nobody pays you for it, you always do? I saw that it was photography for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to push this to the next level. And then when I left NYC, my father said, they're offering you a job as lecturer at University of Lagos. I said, Baba, lecturer, okay. This was what most of the people that finished top in the class were dreaming of. I said, no, I'm not doing lecturer. He said, how? Because he didn't want me to be a photographer. The next thing, wow, Bayo won Creative Artist of the Year. Bayo has won this award. Bayo has won that award. All of a sudden, my father started going everywhere. My son is a great photographer. In fact, he's better than me. My father started inviting me to come and photograph alongside him. And today, the whole story. So he didn't want me to become a photographer. And I could not tell him I was choosing photography because it was going to be horrible. So I kept it silent until I started winning an award. Immediately I started winning an award, he started embracing it, and that's how he allowed me do my thing.
So I think for me, that was you finding it and saying, okay, I think that this is what I'm going to do. You began winning awards.
Yeah.
You began getting recognition. How did it now lead to the Bayo we knew in 2015? Because this is 2010 when you were 7. And then
5 years after.
5 years after, we are having you come up on the scene. Like, okay, so you went back to Lagos most likely after your NYSC, and you were like, I mean, this is where I know.
Yeah.
And you began practicing. Yes, you went to go and hustle. Say, okay, make I carry this photography team to the next level. Let me see how I can evolve.
Yeah.
How did that evolution start? Who were the people? You spoke about community, you spoke about association. Education, you spoke about association.
Yeah.
The association side, who did you begin to associate with? And what was now the community that was incubating you as you began entering Lagos?
I think one of the things that became interesting is, and I give huge credit to Red Media, Debola Williams and Chude Gideonwo. They started what they call Future
Awards?
No, Future Awards, but there was an enterprise
Future Academy?
Yeah, something like that. So they started training photographers. So immediately the day I left NYC, I was running for that program. So I ran to go and collect my Alawi. That was going to be my first time of entering flights in my life after NYSC.
Wow.
Now I enter flights
for the first time.
Why? I was chasing to go and learn and brush up my skill in photography.
Who paid for the flights? You?
My allowance at the end of the whole thing, everything. That flight was 30,000 naira those days. Now
those days,
30,000 naira or
16K.
16,000. So the allowance was maybe 15,000 naira. I just packed everything they gave me. I just said, see, me, I'm rushing to Lagos again. That was how much the passion for photography had consumed me. So I went to Lagos and said, you know what? So I entered the training. And before you know, the training finished. Then there'll be some toll,
there'll be some.
So all of, Yinka Obebe came to teach us.
Yinka Obebe?
Yes, now. So all of Yinka, So those were the people like, Then that time I had to package myself. I put one bowl on my flash so that it would look big. Me too, I was packaging. So I started, positioning myself. I had dreams. I was like, I really want to. So one day, the last day of the class, it was 4 Saturdays. The last day of the class, there was, let me backtrack before I go there.
Okay.
So I came back and I was, man, I've been through a lot. I came back
I know how you
and
feel right now.
when they called me, so Future Awards, them Deborah Williams they were documenting. They wanted to document is it Got Talent? This thing that Timi Dakolo. There was this show that they do that they Nigeria Idols.
Nigeria Idols.
I think Nigeria Idols then.
Yeah.
So they needed a photographer to go and photograph the event. It was the finals, and that was the last day of the class. I said I can do it. I've never done it before. He said no, we're trying to get. We have a photographer that goes. But Baba, I just do training finish now. I can do it. They said no. God now blessed them. The photographer disappointed them. It was not reachable. Baba, I just collected the IV. I said I will go. I didn't have camera. I had that one that I took to camp, but it could not. This Nigeria Idol. I took bike from the training and ran to go and meet Jide Odukoya, who was a student in University of Lagos. I said, I beg, because I know he has one long. I said, let me package. Say, give me. I shall carry everything. Took bike to the event, and I got there. I do, One man just tapped me and said, Baba, which they snap now? Just they snap everything. They snap. I said, Baba, just they snap. I was so excited. I was like, let me just snap. I said, no. The beautiful thing about life is learning by doing. And that's why we must have communities for creatives to learn by doing. It was passion. It had consumed me. The guy just said, no. Next time when you want to take this kind of angle, this is local photographer. So if you say who thought it was not our kind of photographer.
Yes.
He said, no, you turn it like this, you do it like this. So me too, I started doing it at the event. So because they taught me theory, this one was teaching me practical. And then doing the practical, I edited the picture, the thing don't go. From there, I started covering red carpet. I'm like, excuse me, I don't want your picture. I started doing I did every form of photography. But I didn't know that I was building muscle. Building muscle. I'll go everywhere. Whiskey album launch. Those days I was there. MBGN, I was there. I was photographing.
Were you there as invited or you were
I'll go and do waiter all this red carpet. Excuse me, I'll be taking it for Kola Oshalusi. You say who are the people? I'll go and photograph for Kola Oshalusi. I'll go and help Jojo show the carry frame. He say, oh yeah, hold the frame. I'll go. I'll snap. He will snap. I was errand boy. I was going everywhere. Because for me,
you were restless.
I wanted to learn. And I wanted to learn from the Jide Alakija will say there. Because these were the names that were there those days now. I will go and knock at your door, say, please teach me. Theophilus Modamo.
Yes.
Theophilus Emmanuel.
Yes.
I went to his house in far distance. I said, sir, I sent him a Facebook message there. I said, sir, I want to come and see you. And I would appreciate him always. He was the first photographer that opened his door without knowing me. Brought me to his family. And so if you say, who are the people? These were people I was going up and down, restless, meeting everybody to say, please, let me just learn at your feet. And that's how gradually I'll go online, we'll go and watch, we'll go and download, references. And that's how we started getting built. And today, those seeds are the things that began to germinate. And those seeds were the things that turned us to who we were. And also even to becoming the president's photographer. I had photographed, and then later I was like, I'm tired of all this photography. And for me, one thing is, I always like to be where nobody is. And I think it's one thing. So at the point, all the top photographers were either wedding photographers or portrait photographers. And I said, no, I'm going to focus on street and documentary photography. It didn't make sense then. You just be going up and down the street of Lagos and be taking pictures. Everybody is doing wedding. Everybody is doing portraits. They are making money.
That did not make any sense.
I was like, this is not me. So I said, I'm not doing wedding again. My friend comes and said, Bayo, you're not doing wedding. I said, I'm not doing all these things. I started going up and down the streets of Lagos. And I started taking pictures. Then from there, I moved to site photography for foundations, development sector. And then from there, 5 years. So 5 years, I'm crunching 5 years into now moving into, I'm just going to focus on political photography because I always stand at newspaper stands and I'll see the way Nigerian presidents and leaders were being photographed. I said, how are world leaders compared to Guardian, UK, Times, New York Times? I said, see the way they're photographing leader. See the way we're photographing. So I found a problem there, and that's how I said, you know what? I'm going to start documenting political events. And that's how I started moving from one rally to another rally, up and down, or show kids. I started going up and down.
Really?
And that was what led me to become the president's photographer. Not because I knew anybody. I didn't know anybody in Villa. All I knew was that I was passionate about photography, and I wanted to do political photography. I wanted to contribute to solving the problem within. So when people say, Bayo, you did an amazing job, it was there was an agenda. And that was why I could not be distracted. My agenda was I wanted to solve the problem in the way governance or government leaders, political leaders were being documented
globally.
And I wanted to position Nigeria globally in that global on that global stage. And when the Red Media got the project, and thanks again to them, they got the project to do the social media for General Buhari then. And they said, who is the person that is prepared for this kind of work? He said, go and call Bayo. Because I was going in that direction. And that's why it was easy. Today, everybody wants to be. I was the only one that was existing there in that area that was focusing on political photography. And when I didn't want to do, thanks again to Lukman Olaonikpeko. I said, I'm not editing, I'm just photographing. He said, no, Bayo, you must finish it. Then one day after the president won election, I said, I'm going home. He said, Bayo, T.Y. Bello called me. He said, Bayo, I just want to pray for you. So because I'm giving you the people that were there.
Yeah, associations.
He said, I've checked all our circle. There's nobody prepared for such a time as this than you. All our circle of all the photographers that were now making sense.
That were on the radar.
You were prepared for such a time as this. You have to do it. And that was the encouragement I needed. Because I was like, he has won election. What else? I'm going home. I didn't care about Villa. What's Villa? I don't care about Villa. What's my business? I'm on the street again. Let's go. I said, no, Bayo, you are prepared for this. You have to do it. And that was the only encouragement that made me stay with, President Muhammadu Buhari. May he so rest in peace for 8 years.
I mean, I must really say I was really blessed to see that you also documented his burial. Yeah. That was really, really touching. I think that showed true commitment to the cause.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, coming into the Villa, photographing top leaders, global leaders, what does it take in terms of beyond creativity? What does it take in terms of preparedness for you to walk those walls? I'm sure they came with their challenges. What does it take in terms of, you to come a boy from Face Me, I Face You, Pete Latrine, Unilag, no sense of comeliness, as one would say. How did it influence the way you approached being in the Villa? And you were there for a while, 8 years. So how did it affect your disposition, your even your associations? I mean, I'm sure when you came in, you saw the devil of Abuja.
Yeah. I think one of the things that is the philosophy of life is humility. Humility drove me through 8 years in the Villa. Humility, and humility not from a place of, creatives sometimes we could be very arrogant. I am. Do you know who I am? Do you know? Because you feel like
this president's photographer.
But I think 8 years, I rode on the wings of humility, and God was just so kind to me. And I say it, you can see the pattern. 8 years, and not 8 years of 8 years of relevance. 8 years of zero. You can't say, oh, Bayo took one picture that became a scandal. Do you know what it means to photograph a president? Let me break it down for you.
Tell me.
That simply means, to photograph a president simply means the president cannot leave you and you were late. Discipline. The president cannot be at an event and you say your memory card was full, or your battery died, or your lens fell and broke, and you could not photograph him. Number 3, that means the president they cannot mistakenly leave you behind or forgot you, or you slept off. Number 4, that simply means that the way your outlook must be presidential. Number 5, that simply means whatever you do when you get into the room, you yourself, you're a president and you're the image of your country when they see you. And I can continue like that.
So, but who prepared you for this?
Again, God.
Hmm.
And community. The first time I got to the villa, when the president won election, one guy came and I never saw him after that day. I was a creative just where, and that's why God, when God chooses to bless you, guy, nobody can change it.
Nobody can.
Nobody can. The guy just came and said, Bayo, this way you are dressing like this. And as I tell my guys, say, no, dress well. Today now people see red tie, red socks. Everybody is saying, Bayo, the way you prepare, red tie, red socks. Look, one minister told his photographer, I said, see, I'm giving you this money. Go and buy this thing and start dressing like Bayo.
Red tie.
Bayo had become a
Standard,
signature.
yeah.
And if you look at it, you see a lot
No,
of people.
I mean, I actually think you defined what.
Exactly. But guess what? A guy saw me when the president won election. He was a member of the DSS. I didn't see him after that. I said, the way you are dressing like this, they will relegate you to the floor. And then my jeans, creative and jeans, polo, and there's wear face cap. I said, no. I know DSS now, the way they dress, they wear their suits and everything. He said, Bayo, no, you need to package. That was all I needed. I said, all of a sudden, even though I didn't have money, I started looking for how to present myself well. To the point that I dress to the point that the president's meeting starts with me, my dressing. And I have video evidence. The president's meeting started with conversation about how good Bayo was looking. So from that guy, I became that guy that the president's conversation starts with the atmosphere I bring into the room. And that was how much, again, discipline. How disciplined are you? How humble are you? And humility is that even throughout the 8 years, the cleaner, the gardener, all of these people mattered because they had something to teach you. They had something to tell you. The civil servants that you thought are just all the civil servants. No. And sometimes we are so crazy enough to say they are evil servants. No. They have knowledge. They carry so much knowledge that they were able to say, but no, next time look at it from this perspective. Oh, try it this way. And those were the things that guided me throughout, those periods. I never at any point in time, I don't take anybody for granted. Everybody is relevant. I do my work, and of course, 8 years, concern me. I said, but can't you see that they are speaking Hausa? Go and learn Hausa so you know what they are saying. I said, if I'm meant to know, they will say it in English. Why am I? So you major on the minor and you minor on the major. What did they tell you to come and do? Photograph the president. Now, once you start getting distracted, you lose focus. And once you lose focus, what happens? Your image is blurry. And that's how life begins to get blurry. You've lost focus. What is the assignment? Photograph the president. Before you know, start thinking, which contract are they doing now? What are they? Let's go. Let's know. No. Photograph the president. And guess what? All the images you've seen of the president that everybody is celebrating is just about 5% of the images.
Yeah, I saw you post something like that.
I've not even released it. I've not even released all this. Yeah, the best that ever happened. It's just about 5% or 10% of the whole. If I release Jokers picture of NC.
Wow.
But also I was working
so
with
maybe
someone that was very
up a library.
conservative, and I needed to respect that. President Buhari was very, very conservative. So there were many pictures of him that I found, taught to be very careful about putting out, at that point. So again, yeah.
So but let's even talk about your evolution, right? From being, you handled a lot of backlashes also. I'm sure that being the president's photographer, when he got backlashed, people will also backlash.
They give me slices.
You collect your own package in the morning. How did you handle that? And what did it do to you as a person?
It gave me thick skin. Okay. And now I'm not moved by. I've grown. I was very, very emotional about. Oh, this person will say this about you. This person. It made me believe that people can say whatever, whether it's factual or incorrect. People will say whatever they want to say. So you can't build your life around what did people say. You have to ask yourself what is true to you, what's true to your conscience, and follow through. Whether you say this about me or not, I always go back home and ask myself, what is true? And I can never always be right.
Yeah.
And the late President Buhari was never always right.
Yes, but he always.
But the reality of life is, what was in my conscience? What was my intention? Yeah. To my wife at home, she can misinterpret my action. But I will go back to ask myself, what was my
Intention.
Was my intention genuine? And if my intention was not genuine, then I'll come back and apologize. I think I goofed. I could have thought about this
Thought of it
better
better.
or done this better. So those criticisms
Did you lose friends when you got into?
Oh, I people that, Baba, plenty things. There was again, but it became life. You must go through it. See, it's only someone that is staying on the rock that people can target. If you're on that, nobody is seeing you now. So the fact that you know that Bayo, you are in the only reason why people are across platforms, even family, because I could not. My communication was limited. Some people started saying, "Oh, it's now arrogance. He doesn't even talk to us."
I mean, you can't really.
I'm with the president.
You are keeping a president's
my phone
schedule.
till now. My phone, you can't hear it ring. If it rings, there must be a mistake. For 8 years, I can't even. You are with the president money till now. Why would you can be in front of president? You are trying to press your phone.
WhatsApp.
So people felt like, he's now president photographer now. He doesn't even talk to us again. He has now become very arrogant. People have different interpretation. Oh, see now, they are all chopping money. How? Which contract? Go and check the file. Which contract? Is there they get by which? So people have different ideologies. But for me, at the end of the day, is what is true. Did you do the best you could have done? And how were you able to, manage it? Some of them now have come back and say, some of them forever were gone. You can't be friends. 20, they said 20 children can't be friends for 20 years. Yeah. Some people will fall apart. Some people will send you one DM and ask you for money, beg for money. Once you don't answer them, they go on social media and start abusing you. So once I see the attack, I'll go and check the person's DM. And I say, the guy was asking for money. I did not read it. So he's attacking me not because he doesn't. It's the fact that this stupid boy is there. He's in the villa. I know he cannot answer. Sir, Bobo, I did not even see that you begged me for money. But just because I did not respond, then you go on comments. You begin to attack. Silly boy, useless people, up and down. Do you know how many fights I was fighting for young Nigerians that I could not come out to talk about?
Publicly.
Do you know how many efforts I was making just to see that other people were successful just as I am? But it cannot be true for everybody. Even president could not save the nation. Who am I, a photographer, to try to save Nigeria? No, I did the best I could.
And that was it.
And I live with that reality.
Yeah, I mean, and you published a book, a very beautiful book about it.
Sure.
And I think maybe more of those images will get to see it maybe
sometime. You said I published a book. Do you know that I was in government and I went to loan money to publish that book?
You're kidding me.
I went to collect loan to publish book.
No.
People don't say these are stories that it's not every day you talk. It's story that brings story.
Are you kidding me?
I went to collect loan. It is when I said I say, how you go the government just poor like this? People would laugh you. You just the government poor, but I could not do something. And I'm speaking it to the young people. What are you doing? We compromise a lot and we say we want to fix Nigeria, but yet we get there and we compromise. I had to borrow money. Loan. Immediately I started looking for who will buy a book from me.
So basically just
so that I can refund the person I collected from. But my agenda was not just because I wanted to publish a book. I knew that as a growing creative, I realized that most photographers, our work dies on our laptop or dies on the hard disk. So I was looking at, okay, how do I bring this thing out and begin to, and maybe I was the first or second person. There are very few photographers in Nigeria that had ever put their work on the book in a book.
I think the only person I'd seen before yours was Dayo, Uncle Dayo.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, I need to put this thing out, and that was the only intention behind, doing a book. But again, at the end of the day, we have done our best. We have supported the industry, and I say it's there. When we started this photography, photographers were coming from outside Nigeria to come and photograph. White people will be all over the streets of Lagos, documenting Nigeria, telling us we are collecting foreign currency. Today, we are shipping photographers outside Nigeria. And I, Bayo Omoboriowo, contributed to it.
Yes, you did.
Today, photographers are earning value. When we started photography, we could not tell our parents. I could not tell my father that I was a photographer.
Yeah.
Today, parents are pushing their photography. Parents are calling. My daughter wants to learn photography. High-level people are calling me now. My daughter wants to learn photography. Can she come and learn from you? Which camera should I buy for my daughter? This thing has really changed, though. Now, parents are the ones pushing their children to do photography.
I remember when I first held a camera in my life and I was photographing in my family, and this was not even so long ago. I remember that was like about in 2013, 2014. I remember it was almost like a thing of worry.
Yeah.
They were like, so my dad was late at the time. So this boy So this is what he has become, a photographer. Everybody was
They were pitying you.
It was a thing of.
I said, one guy called me one day, said, Bayo, Bayo, you finished top in the university. It was almost, he was pitying my destiny. Bayo, why photography? Bayo, you left it and you are doing photography. I can picture where we were standing. Bayo, what happened to you? But today, I'm sure you Bayo, you are right that you followed photography.
But your evolution from now being President Buhari's photographer, I think you've taken a new direction.
Yes.
From just photography.
Of course.
And to the broader creativity. What's that mission?
The mission for me is that enterprise is the only way we can move forward. And that's why I stepped out from government. I could have continued.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
I was given the opportunity to continue if I wanted.
Yeah.
But for me, it's time for me to come out and actually
redefine,
understand public sector, which I have
understood,
to a large extent in 8 years. Understand the private sector, and create a bridge where private and public sector begins to collaborate. And the vehicle I can use is enterprise. What channel do I have? Creativity. For me, 2 to 3 years into government, I was already asking myself, is it just taking picture? Is that all? I take picture, I print it, I frame it, we make album. Is that all? There must be more. So that took me through the journey of what is more in photography. And I started saying that photography is just a tool of expression. There are many areas of expression. So I realized that for me, photography was just my pen to draw. I could draw with any ink. So I realized that for me, creativity in the larger scope was most important.
It was boundless.
Because if you want to say photography and photographics, drawing, to draw.
Yeah.
Photography is to draw with lights.
Yeah.
That means I can draw with other things.
Yeah.
Guess what? Then graphics design comes in.
Yes.
So if I'm going to produce a book, I need a graphic designer. If I'm going to make my photo come to better reality and have better context, I need to put it into motion. So film comes in. So I realized that I should not narrow myself into one channel of just being a photographer. Then I realized that, okay, this creative industry is actually, then I started opening it up gradually, and I started finding myself. Because life is a journey. Most times we make it a bus stop. No, we make it a destination rather than just a bus stop, which you can take off again and continue. Photography could have become my own destination, but I said, no, there's more. Who said photography, as a photographer, you can't turn into a big multi-billion-dollar visual artist? So it's in Nigeria, we limit ourselves. You now stay a photographer. It's photography I've been doing all my life, and I am still a photographer.
Yes.
But I am a photographer now expressing himself in diverse, and that's why I have JT Agency, which is now a storytelling company, where we are helping organizations and brands tell their story.
Yeah.
But I also have Secure Africa, which is now helping other creatives do their thing and express themselves. And that was what spurred me to do my master's in arts and cultural management, because I realized that most times we've built creatives, but we've not built managers. And that's why Nigeria is still suffering. And that's one of the few things that the music industry got right, which is why you have an artist and then you have an art manager. But where is photography manager?
Yeah, I mean, do you know, interestingly, I was with Obi Asika.
Yeah.
I was with him and he was telling me a story about, he was trying to encourage me. And he was telling me a story about a particular artist from Nigeria who just sold some of their property for like $4 million, And I was like, oh, really? He said, yeah. He said, but the thing the guy did differently was he went abroad, got an agent. That he said that's what a lot of people don't know. They don't know that there is a way these systems work in global climes. And that agent was the one that was able to get him the deal from the global
management.
Yeah.
Management. And that's what it is. And a lot of creators are suffering in Nigeria because there's no structure around them.
Yeah.
So they do the creative, they are consumed by the passion. So I said, I'm going to step out from just being consumed by the passion and build systems and structure that can support me to scale, but also support several other creatives to scale. And the whole idea is, how do we turn ideas to products to industries? So what we had before was idea, the passion of photography. But how do we turn it to products? One of the products for me now is a book.
Yeah.
I've turned my photography into a product, which is a book. The book I did, Discover Nigeria, is sold out now. Everybody's calling me to say, come and do more.
Do more, yeah.
You know, then how do I take that product to industry? How do I scale it big? And that's what the industry, that's the only way the creative industry can contribute to the socio-economic development of the continent. Creatives are there, we have loads of creative, but the value chain is not complete. So you see them doing a lot of passionate work, but there's no access to markets. They are not able to convert that creative passion into enterprise. They are not even able to pay bills. Because why? It's just passion. So photographers now, we create the work and we keep it in our hard disk because the passion, that is the bus stop. But most people think it's the destination. I've created a picture. It's just a bus stop. Pick the ride again and say, okay, this picture I've created,
where can I
do
take it
with it? What else can I do? Can you cut it into collage and turn it to a collage piece? But everybody is saying, you take picture, you frame it, and you stand and you say, they did not buy my picture. Have you turned it into, have you given it value? Value. And giving it value is a process. And once you give it value, your earning power increases. And that's what we're doing for the creative industry. And that's why I said, you know what, creative enterprise is my own vehicle. So I'm a creative enterprise evangelist. I want to ensure that creatives earn a decent living from their practice. That creatives no longer need to struggle. Creatives no longer, and I was there. I would have died being a struggling photographer. There were days on the street of Lagos I'd be touching cars and say, God, you will do my own, no. God, you will do my own, no. God, you will do my own. Because I'll come down from Danfo and Okada. Then I'll see cars and you say, God, say, God, do it for me too. So my passion is not because, it's just because people can actually succeed and succeed genuinely. I've left government and I'm not poor. And it's not because I was in government. It's because I've converted what I carry into something that can make more money and put it on a wheel that can continue to accelerate.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys have produced The Village.
Yes.
I mean, 30 hectares of phenomenal work. I mean, I was there for the opening of Tikera itself, and I saw what you started doing, saw this coach, the train coaches, and I was like, wow. And then I also am familiar with Madhouse, but I haven't been there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about what those two spaces represent and what we should see in the future?
I think it's what I was saying about incubation and community. You know, that's association, incubation, community. They're all interwoven together. And that's what we're doing with Madhouse and a village. And that's why it's all hinged on Tikera Africa as an organization. And we say we are the solution provider for the creative and cultural industries of Africa. We're trying to solve the problem that we can see. One of the biggest problems that we see is space. A lot of creatives have brilliant ideas, but they don't even have the space to bring these ideas to life. Number two is tool. A lot of them don't have tools to bring these ideas to life. Number three is funding. A lot of them don't have access to funding to bring these ideas to life. Number four is community. A lot of them are not in the community of other people that can transfer knowledge, share knowledge, where they can co-create, where they can, put hands together to make things happen. And that's what Madhouse is trying to do, and the village. Madhouse is focused more on contemporary creatives. We have it in Lagos, University of Lagos.
Yes.
And then the village is focused a lot more on the traditional artisan craftsmanship in Abuja, where we're trying to say, you know what, how do we then create a bridge between the traditional creatives and the contemporary creatives, where the value chain is complete, where the future is protected, where knowledge is exchanged, and where access to market is democratized. And that's what we're doing with.
So what are the biggest challenges that you're facing to achieve this? Or you think that creatives can do to support this vision?
I think the biggest challenge is more around structuring. And we are trying to structure that as well, because, again, we are trying to live what we are preaching. And one is idea to industry. We must also go through it.
Yeah.
And from being a creative and trying to build something this massive, I also must go through it. And that's what the only thing that can help us get to that destination is systems and structure, which is having the right team on ground, having the right access to funding. I've been invited now to speak, and everybody's inviting me now to speak on financing for creative sector. But I don't want to speak something I read on paper. I want to speak something I lived.
Yeah.
And that's why we are also, through Tikera Africa, building the vehicle. So that when I'm speaking to you, see the way I'm speaking to you now, I'm speaking based on what I've lived.
Yes.
I'm not speaking based on what I read in paper. So when I speak to you on financing for the creative sector, I can say it's based on what we've done. So for us now, what we've done is we've bootstrapped up until now, and then we are now building solid system and structure that can then give us access to finance. If we then don't get finance from external, then we know there's a problem. Then when I'm speaking to you on finance, I can tell you we went this way. it did not work, but this is the model we've developed. And we are trying different approach. One is internally generated revenue. One is access to grants and partnerships. So we are developing different vehicles, and we are testing and piloting those vehicles. And if it doesn't work, we pivot. But if we pivot, we'll pivot to the point where we know that it's a win-win. We must win always.
We must win always.
But this knowledge, this experience, we can then carry to support every other creative. So they might not be building 30 hectares, they might be building 3 hectares. And you can say, oh, you know what, we tried it this way, it did not work. And then we are saying, you know what, if you try it this way, it can work because it worked for us. And that's the way. And it's the same way I've lived my photography career. I started photography, and I know that a lot of people became because I became.
Yes.
And that's why I said you can't become until you become. For others to become, I need to become. Because political photography, for instance, I was the first official photographer of a president. Today, a lot of people, even local government chairman now as photographer.
Everybody.
So it has come down.
Yeah.
But if I don't leave it and I didn't succeed at it, you can imagine how that would have affected a lot of people. A lot of people are getting photographer now and even honoring their photographer and celebrating their photographer because of how they saw the president, my relation with the president. They know that, oh, my photographer cannot just be anybody. You remember those days?
Yes.
Call me the photographer.
Yes.
President Buhari never said, call me the photographer. Call me Bayo. There was a presidential honor in return. There was value exchange. He knew this guy was bringing something to the table. And as much as he didn't care about the picture, he cared about that value. And he honored that value. And today, a lot of political leaders, even private sector leaders, are now celebrating and respecting their photographer. I think we deserve a very big applause for the effort we contributed, really. And it's the same. It's no longer the same. Photographers are no longer broke. You know, people are now earning, and it's trickling down. It's like a value chain.
Yeah.
It trickles down. So now a wedding photographer can no longer be priced cheap because there's value in what he's bringing to the table, and people now honor the value. And I'll give you a story. One guy, because I was still broke, they said, my friend Jide needed to photograph a wedding and he could not make. He said he would send Bayo. And the guy came and said, Bayo, I think I had stopped wedding photography. I said, Bayo. I said, I don't want Bayo. It's Jide I want. I said, please, Jide cannot make it. I'm here. I can't remember if he grumbled or he bounced me, something. So when I became the president photographer, he said, that guy, you don't know him. He's the one that photographed my wedding. That guy, people started begging me to put my logo on their picture I did not photograph. Say, let us just have your logo on the picture so people will know that we know you. And that's what is happening in the industry now. The value has increased. The respect is
the name.
Photographers are no longer taken for granted. And I think it's something that, myself and several other creatives who have been super amazing, Kelechi Amadi, Obitiwai Bello, Ichio Opairoa, and Jojo Shodi, and all of these efforts they've made for the industry.
So, I mean, it's quite interesting that you mentioned the being a creative evangelist, creative enterprise evangelist. Yeah. Last year we worked on something called the Africa Creator Economy Report. And then we also worked on, this year we are releasing the Nigeria Creator Economy Report at GITEX. One of the things that we learned when speaking to creators was the fact that there are all these platforms that are typically used for monetization right now in terms of the various streaming platforms, the various for both music and movies, and them also having a large gap whereby not all creatives actually have the opportunity to earn as much. If you're a creative in America, you earn more, than a creative in Nigeria, and people everybody just struggling for that YouTube dollars or TikTok dollars or, how are you processing all of this? Do you think we need to set up our own platforms, to be able to take up our own creativity or to add value to what we currently have?
I think what I always say is Nigeria, and maybe Africa at large, we like to play catch up. So the global world creates something, we are trying to catch up. So we try to fight it. When we can't fight it, we do catch up.
Yeah.
It's time for us to begin to lead. And I say that because we carry so much value as a people. We are very intelligent. We are brilliant. And until we begin to see it from that perspective and we begin to translate and convert this brilliance into a game-changing approach for us to deliver what we want, then it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And for me, I always say it. We have platforms. How else can we tell our story? And I'll give you an instance. Architecture today.
Yeah.
Do you know that a lot of the Demas Unwo code that the world started copying and trying to replicate what they were doing, a lot of them did not study architecture. Demas Unwo code did not study architecture. He was a creative that began to express himself. And that expression is what the world started. And today we left all of those architecture, this design they had. We started building contemporary designs. We ignored what was ours. Africa carries value and Africa carries glory. Until we begin to see ourselves from that perspective and approach whatever we do from that perspective, not that we are trying to catch up with what they've done. For instance, why can't we create our own? And I know the challenges are there.
Yeah,
The challenges to creating our own are there. But until we begin to fight those challenges and solve it, we will not. So it's just like saying Wizkid started doing R&B.
Yeah.
Why is the world embracing Wizkid? Why is the world embracing Burna Boy? What is it?
Afrobeats.
Exactly. So we come to Nigeria now. Do you think people want to come to Nigeria, for instance, let's even talk about tourism, to come and look at ShopRites? Or do you think they want to come to Nigeria to look at our high-rise building?
No.
They're coming to invest in our culture and our ways of life.
Yeah.
Everything we do.
And they admire it. They crush on it.
They love it. I was in London and I took fashion to London. And I was doing an exhibition. And I said, rather than just do an art exhibition, I was going to do an experiential exhibition. So I brought all these white people and started wearing gele for them, tying headgear. If you see the joy, you don't understand. You tie headgear for a white. If you see the joy in their hearts, experiencing that, and it cuts across everything we do. But we now still need to start looking at how do we productivize all of these things? How do we industrialize what we do? Rather than just doing it, and it's like what you say in farming. You say peasant, farmer, and what?
Subsistence
farmer. And it's the same thing, even in creativity. So you say content creation, for instance, now. One of the persons that the world is buying so much and investing so much is, what's this young girl?
Majimbo?
This young girl that does content.
Which one?
That has a guy that was managing.
Emanuela.
I was abroad, and some kids came they were at my hotel, and they said, "Please, can you be Emanuela for us?" I said, "See me at my age, these children said I should be Emanuela for them." I said, "Can you do Emanuela? Like I should act as Emanuela character abroad."
Wow. That's
how much value in our authenticity. The rawness, the how much they value our culture, our story. But how else can we convert it in a larger scale where we remain authentic, yet speaking our language? If you go to China, they don't want you to. Everything is Chinese. I was in China 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah.
Everything is about them, and you must embrace them. You must follow them the way they've told you that you should follow them. They will tell you, pay. Can I pay with? Can I use Uber? No. Can I pay with? Can I use Google Map? No. Can I pay with? He said no. Alipay. Can I chat with you with WhatsApp? He said no. WeChat. Can you? Everything is. They've stayed true to who they are.
Created their own world.
They've created their own world, and Africa must arise. And we say we are giants, and Nigeria we even say we are giants of Africa, but sometimes the giant is sleeping. Wake up, oh giants! That's the only way we can build the future we want.
So I have 3 fire point questions for you. First one is, what's the most unusual or funny thing you've had to do just to get the shot?
I left the toilet without cleaning my ass just to get the shot. And then I went back to go and wear my trousers because the president said, "Where's Bayo?" And I was in the toilet. I ran up, wore my trousers, and ran to go and meet him. After taking the picture, I ran back to the toilet to clean up.
Yes. That's crazy.
It's what we do for the job.
So
how would I tell you that? Where's Bayo? He said, "We wait for me. President, wait for you." And that's what the burden of the work we were doing. And that's what people don't understand. It's sacrifice more than reward. It's a sacrifice you have to make. But people don't see this. Bayo is success. Bayo is were sacrifices. There are days that the trouser tore, and you see your this thing coming, and you just be holding like this and be taking the picture like this. There was a day someone bashed me on the road. I could not come down to look at what the destruction of the car. I drove the car all the way to the villa because I could not be late. It was when I finished the assignment and I came out and, hey, what did they do to my car? Wow. Those were the things we were doing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There are days with ungunned cars and you know that you were almost dying just to make sure that. There were days in Paris, I can never forget that they took me. I thought they saw me as a terrorist. If you see the way they grabbed me and pushed me away, just because I was waiting to make sure I don't miss the shot of the president.
Wow. So do you This is so funny. But I think, can you just tell us one of your most fondest memory with the late president?
When Paris and someone came to give me money and said, the president said I should give it to you, that you should buy something for your wife when you're going home.
Wow.
That was quite, I can never forget. Not buy something, buy something for your wife. That was quite
Touching.
very touching. Very, very. The fact that I
I
not
mean,
just
the
think
president
about
can think about so many things in his life.
do you understand? And I can never forget the day my children came to see him, and my children were jumping on his chair, and I was like, see these children, they don't know this is president. They were literally jumping, almost jumping on him. And they said, who is this? He said, president. The president. And I have the picture. It's quite emotional. Like this president, and people are begging for access, and my children were jumping on the chair all around him and just playing all around him. And those are moments that you can never take for granted, and also taking access for granted. You can never take it for granted. This is president of over 200 million people, and you have that access to him. I say, Bayo, I can see you looking at the timetable. You're going to eat. You're going to eat. You're going to eat. Sorry. Those were the access.
He took you like a son.
Yeah, he respected me beyond just being a creative, but a serious person who knew what he was trying to do. And I met and say, no, leave him. He knows what he's trying to do. And that respect is something that I can never take for granted. And that's the respect every creative deserves. We are not just creatives. You live there. No, we are preserving memories. When he died, what else was he there to bring out?
It's memories.
It was memories. So if you don't respect that reality, it's just a photographer. Who told you? These creatives, and all these creatives, creativity rules the world, and that must be respected. And maybe I can say creativity is the new oil, whether through content creation, through the way we do things, through our culture, through our ways of life. That's the new oil, and that's what the world is trying to drill now. And the government and the people of Nigeria must respect that and position strategically for that.
And the onus is on the creative to also show up
Position.
that way.
Prepare for it.
How do they prepare for it?
Research. Read. Compete. We can no longer be secondary citizens, third party. We are in charge of the table now. We sit at the head of the table. And until we begin to see ourselves as that, we can no longer see ourselves as third, tertiary. They are there. Who is they? The Western world are there. Then we are. And I said it, we can't be catching up. No, we take over. And we have the spirit to take over. But let's take over in the right sense. Now go to Ghana and say, they are taking Nigerians, South Africa and Ghana. Why are they angry? Nigerians are taking over our women. No. Once they come like this, Nigerians are taking over our women. No. Go and tell you, what do you think is causing all this? They are taking over our women. Why? A Nigerian will spend more than you as a Ghanaian or South Africa. Nigeria will splash money, we show off. Yeah. If it is party, we'll go, we'll do like this. Women don't scatter.
We are loud.
We are loud. But can we be loud in the things that positions us for the world to hear us more? Flutterwave is loud. Yeah. Those are the kind of loud we should be talking about.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to an Indian who does business in Nigeria, and he told me something. I asked him, I said, what do you think you've been in Nigeria? He said he's been in Nigeria 3 years. It's not even that long. So I liked it. So I was like, okay, what do you think about Nigeria coming here? He said he thinks we've not told our story well enough.
Yeah. I was on a plane 3 weeks ago, and there was an Italian, on the same sitting next to me. I was like, so I saw, as we were about to land, I saw he brought out his passport, and I saw Nigerian passport. I was like, So I engaged him. I said, what's happening? He said, I'm Nigerian. Nigerian. He said, I've been living here for years.
Wow.
But his tonation was still Italian. I said, but people say this about Nigeria, but you are here. He said, forget it. He said, Nigeria, you people have not, just like you said, that we've just not positioned ourselves the right way. He said, there's so much beauty in Nigeria. He said he walks on the streets of Lagos. Sometimes he rides his bike. He's here. He cannot live here. This is home. This is life. This is, now they talk Nigeria like this, and people are living Nigeria, and you don't understand the energy, the passion with which he was talking about Nigeria. And I'm like, maybe those are the kind of people we should start interviewing so that they can tell you their perception of Nigeria that Nigerians have lost.
I think-
Because again, when you dwell in the secret place, you abide.
yes,
But when you dwell in the problem place,
you
begin
abide.
to
Also in the
abide.
problem place.
So you begin to see problems. So a lot of Nigerians have embraced the problem more than analyzing the value. A lot of this, I tell people, I say, if Dangote never leave Nigeria, if Otedola never leave Nigeria, if all this Oyinbo never leave that, there's something inside Nigeria. Is that we are not seeing it?
And they keep coming.
People come.
Mm.
Go inside Abuja, go and see all these big stores. They are not Nigerians, though.
Yes,
But before you know, you say, my passport.
There are
is...
even stores that are now built for foreigners. Like you see them.
So what are they doing here?
Yeah.
If there's nothing here, they have passport. They have other passport that they can leave. If they are here, maybe it's what they are seeing, and maybe we need to start seeing it more.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need to start. My friend just came. He left last week, and he came to Abuja. He had never been to Abuja. Maybe he was in Abuja just once. Maybe when he was still a baby. I'm like, Bayo, you guys are not telling your story. He said, see Abuja. All he knows is this traffic in Lagos and the dirtiness of Lagos. That's all. That's the image of Nigeria he carries. Then he drives from the airport to Abuja and into the city center. I said, Bayo, Charlie is from Ghana. Charlie, Nigeria. All of a sudden, the perception of Nigeria is not small. See, because his image is the problem of Lagos, and he has not seen any other thing. Imagine if we embraced and really managed Obudukatu Ranch. Imagine if we took care of that, the dunes of Yobe. Yes. Imagine if we paid attention to Yankari Game Reserve. Imagine if this is all the world was seeing more about us. Imagine if we tell those stories. Imagine the honor we have, where the Western world no longer thinks we are coming to beg. And that we have a beggarly perception. It is beggarly now. These ones are coming to beg. Even when you're at their border, you present your passport. How long are you here? How long? When are you leaving?
Very insulting.
When are you leaving? What are you telling me? What am I coming to do? Somehow we go there 1 day, 2 days, we leave your country. We are not begging. But that's the perception. They have come again. When we start carrying Ghana must go at the airport carrying load as if no.
4 bags.
No. There's glory in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But some people must sit to do the work. And that's part of what we're doing with Secure Africa.
Okay. Wow. That's really, really exciting. And I look forward to you achieving all those visions.
By God's grace.
The same way he has shown his grace with you.
By God's grace. Like the way you've also supported us.
Thank you.
You so sit now.
Yes, no, that grace. I need to tap into it. Thank you so much, Bayo. I really do appreciate your time. And thank you very much for coming on this podcast today. It's been really, really electric. And I know it took you a lot of sacrifice to be here, so we are grateful.
Thank you so much, and thank you for what you do for the industry, your passion, your consistency as well. You know, from all your events, policy papers, and you say policy, you are the one doing the policy papers now, and I think you should be celebrated for that. So thank you so much, and thanks for having us here today.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm sure you enjoyed the conversation. This was really, really phenomenal. Thank you for joining us on this episode. And like we always say, the best thing you can do for us is like, share, subscribe, because that's free, you know. And some of you watch it and never subscribe. So please, this is your reminder to please subscribe. Subscribe right now. And also, you check the comment section, follow the guest, Bayo. Bayo is across all social media platforms, and then also the great work that he's doing in Tikera Africa with Madhouse, with The Village, and many more to come. Look forward to catching you on the next episode.